Ah, oh, that's hot. That's hot.
What the hell?
Him. Bro, I knew I liked you, dude. Come here, bring it in. Bring it in, brother.
Mr. Boss, that's nice. I'm about to bust.
Boys and girls, it is good to be back on ZZZ. And I'm gonna be honest, I was not following any of the leaks regarding Dialyn. I wasn't sure how strong she was gonna be, but boy am I surprised. He might just be one of the most broken characters that have been released in like recent memory. And I'm genuinely surprised because JuFufu didn't come out too long ago. And she's already technically being replaced. Like, there's no scenario where you would get JuFufu instead of Dialyn realistically, especially now. But yes, I digress. We'll talk about whether you should pull for her and all of that near the end. You can skip to that if you want. Right now, let's take a look at the build. Okay, so here are the stats we're working with. Now, she's extremely simple to build. You only care about one stat realistically, and that's going to be crit rate. You want to get this to 100%, and then from there, you're pretty much good to go. This is because every percentage of crit above 50 is going to give you 2 points of impact. So at 100%, you will gain an additional 100 impact for free. This is perfect. From there, the only other two stats you really care about are going to be attack and crit damage. They are pretty much the same value, so getting more attack is fine, getting more crit damage is fine, whatever floats your boat. As long as you're around these values, so anything over 2,200 attack and like 100 crit damage, you're pretty much good to go. At the end of the day, she is a stunner, not a damage dealer, so it is what it is. The extra damage is nice to have in like when you're really pushing it, but realistically, it's pretty negligible. So when it comes to skills, it's also pretty simple. Now you're obviously going to be maxing out the core skill first. It gives a ton of free crit rate, gives attack as well, which is really great, but also scales the amount of impact you're going to get from that crit rate, and then also the additional stun damage multiplier, so no brainer there. When it comes to skills, realistically, if there is one you're going to max, is going to be the EX special. Her gameplay loop is very simple. You're really going to switch her in, press your EX special 3 times, and then switch out. So there's not really much use in leveling up anything else. I would put some points into maybe the chain attack if you really want to. Everything else can kind of stay pretty low, and you're not really going to be auto attacking or dodging a lot on her anyways. You're really just EX special, EX special, EX special, and then an ult here or there with some chain attacks. That's pretty much it. Okay, now let's talk about the drive disc options. In terms of the 4-piece, there really is only one option. That's going to be King of the Summit. It gives everything that you want from a set like this. For a stunner, it's perfect. There really is no other option. The 2-piece is where there's a little bit of flexibility. So if you are really struggling to hit that 100%, obviously you can go Woodpecker for that free 8%. Bog standard stuff there. If you're not struggling to hit it like me, then you can use Swing Jazz instead, and that's going to give even more energy regen, which just makes it even more comfortable to make sure that every time you need to switch in, you will have the amount of energy to spend all 3 EX specials. Okay, now we can look at the actual pieces themselves, and we'll talk about the main stats as well. Now, for disc 1 to disc 3, you'll pretty much see a very similar thing where I'm trying to balance out my crit rate and crit damage. Luckily for me, I don't need to get crazy rolls on crit rate as I have such a high base because of the Wenjin and stuff like that. So I can afford to go more into crit damage here. I really wanted to just balance out my stats, so I had like around 2400 attack and then at least over 100% crit damage. So here, 1 into crit rate, 2 into crit damage. That's perfectly fine. This is a very nice piece. 3 into crit rate. This helps a ton. This 3, nothing too special. I had an option to get a bit more attack instead of the crit damage, sorry. But I just went with the crit damage because I wanted this to look nicer in the stat sheet, basically. So, for the disc 4, there really is only one option, and that's going to be crit rate. Unless your other pieces have absolutely insane crit rate rolls, you really can't afford to go anything else here. Now, obviously, 2 rolls into attack percent, you want to be picking up a good amount of attack percent as well. Just don't go crazy into crit damage or attack. You want to be balancing them out if you care about damage. But yeah, this is a pretty good piece. I'm really happy with this. The other options you have, like if you were in that scenario where you just overcapped on crit rate even without this, you could go crit damage, you could go attack. It really comes down to what is going to give you the best substats. But for 99.9% of people, I'm imagining you're going crit rate here. Now here, you have a lot of options, but best is going to be attack percent. Realistically, this is a pretty good piece. 3 rolls into crit rate and then 1 into flat attack. I really can't complain about this piece. Pretty much perfect. You can go like physical damage, you can go like pen ratio. It's not really going to matter too much. Now, here is where I think a lot of people got caught out. If you were pre-farming for this character without delving too deep into calculations and stuff, you probably saved up a lot of impact pieces. But unfortunately, she actually wants energy regen here. It doesn't actually care about impact that much at all. So energy regen is the most important thing. 2 rolls into crit rate, 1 into crit damage and 2 into HP. I really just didn't want to invest too much into this character, and I was happy enough with this. I hit that 100% crit rate, I didn't overcap too much, and I hit the thresholds that I wanted with the attack and the crit damage. So I'm perfectly happy with this. Okay, when it comes to Wenjin's, to nobody's surprise, her signature is really going to be the best option. Primarily because this 24% crit rate is absolutely huge. This makes hitting that 100% crit rate threshold much easier. It's essentially a free disc 4. This is a no-brainer. The actual effects are insane as well. Like I said, she wants a ton of energy. This gives an insane amount of energy regen while off field. It's crazy. She gains days. She gives quick damage to the team. It's pretty much perfect. Pretty much perfect. Now, in terms of other options, you could use Hellfire Gears. It's kind of similar. It gives impact, which you don't care too much about, but it's not a big deal. You do actually get the energy regen as well, albeit a bit lower, significantly lower than the actual signature, but it's a really not bad alternative if you have it. Now, free-to-play option is really going to be Steam Oven. It gives the energy regen, which is really nice, but obviously the secondary effect is not that useful. But it will always be up because you will be spending it, so yeah, those are really your options. Okay, let's briefly talk about her Mindscapes. So Mindscape 1 is actually quite ridiculous. The 15% death shred, that's perfectly good, very nice to have, but the actual positive review accumulated increase of 16% is what makes this insane, because with this you're actually able to get 2 of her forced ultimate activations essentially in one stun window, which means you can actually get 4 Yishuan ultimates in one stun window, which is crazy good. Now, I don't think I'm going to get this, but it's very strong. When it comes to M2, it's also very strong. An additional 20% stun damage multiplier. This brings it up to a total of 50% additional, which is really strong, and then 15% increased damage to people affected by it as well. Crazy damage multipliers here, very strong. In terms of which one I would pick when it comes to the Wenjin or the Mindscapes, I still think Wenjin comes first, as it provides quite a lot and makes building her much easier. But M1 is very strong, and if you want to stop at M1 as well, that's a pretty good place to stop in my opinion. Very insane Mindscape. Okay, let's talk about team compositions. Now, this is part of what makes her so strong. You can place her into any Rupture team, any attacker team. She's going to be the best in slot stunner without question. So the de facto best team now is obviously going to be Yishuan, Lucia and Dialyn. JuFufu has unfortunately been toppled from this spot, so it is what it is. You can't really play her with anomaly characters, as They just have better options. That includes Miyabi, unfortunately, but it is what it is. The one big standout for me, I would say, would be maybe Hugo, and I would have to test this out. I have him at M2, and with M2, that means his ultimates do not consume the totalize. And with Dialyn, I can get 2 ultimates. So in total, that's 3 totalizers per stun window, which is kind of insane. So this might bring him back at least somewhat close to meta, because he really did fall off a cliff. But yes, you can play her with pretty much any other attacker, you know, Julian, Ellen, even some of the 4-star ones like Billy and stuff like that. So it all works. She's very, very flexible. And that pretty much wraps it up for Dialyn. I'll be honest, I did not expect them to release such a flexible and overpowered character. She's insane. She's actually ridiculous, especially the fact that JuFufu didn't come out too long ago. In terms of whether you should pull, if you really want to upgrade your Rupture teams or any of your old attacking teams, you want them to be stronger, she's a no-brainer pickup. I think she's going to have a ton of value for a very, very long time. But if you're really only playing anomaly characters or that kind of stuff, then maybe she's not that worth it for you. But yeah, it's crazy to say skip her because this level of power is pretty crazy. So yeah, those are my opinions. Do with that what you will. I'll obviously have a showcase after this, so stick around if you want to see that. If not, I'll catch you in the next one. Make sure to like and subscribe. Peace.
名脈は冴えたようだ。信用創生。命する。